kicking it.
For a very brief.
Not brief.
Brief.
It was a conversation. Just relaxing. It's been a long week. So I want to know, how have you been investing in yourself this summer? And do you think there's importance in that?
I mean, mostly we've just been buying stuff. I don't know if that really counts as investment.
So what have you bought that you think has been an investment?
I guess the cameras contribute to better content.
Okay.
But mostly they're just fun to have. I think, especially because like most of the content from what I can make doesn't tend to use a camera.
Right.
So I guess that will change things a bit.
And so do you think just like by having a camera, it'll put you into a more uncomfortable position where you're forced to be creative, you're forced to think outside of the box? Do you think situations like that will happen?
Well, I'm trying to, even before we got the cameras, I was trying to sort of revamp Metro Meta. I think it's getting into its next volume, especially after this summer.
Okay.
And I was looking for a more classroom-like aesthetic and moving things around a bit more. So I think that will, I think I can use the camera for that bit. I know already I had edited a intro. Right. I haven't used it yet, but I do have an intro that I want to use in my video. So I think having a camera might get me to revamp it a little.
Okay. And so with you, so are you a strong just like video editor?
I wouldn't say strong.
Okay.
I would say mildly capable.
Okay. And when you say mildly capable, what do you mean by that?
I can somewhat edit a video. Like I can't do like as much slick editing videos or like any of the fancy swipes, but I can do cuts. I can somewhat cut things together.
Okay.
Some of it again might just be the limitations of the software I use, but I can somewhat piece things together. Of course, the less advanced things, the better it is.
Right.
So I guess that to me is a big, because one of the big drawbacks that our channel has is our content needs something like, especially when you look at my version of our channel, Metro Meta, a lot of that content needs examples or videos, and because we can't record our content, I usually lack that. Right. So most of my video editing is honestly just photoshopping pictures for it, which of course again, since I use Canvas, that website,
right,
I use that for all my photoshopping and all my videos. And I don't know if did you watch my Kingdom Hearts video?
Yes, I did.
But like all those photos I had to Photoshop. Those photos took about an hour. I want to say the in-game in 2 cities.
Right.
That whole editing and all of that took me about an entire afternoon, and it's only about like a 2-minute video.
Okay.
So yeah, I just need more content to put into the video.
So I'll talk about myself. When it comes to just like investing in yourself, we talked about making yourself uncomfortable and really putting yourself out there, and that's what I've been trying to do just like this summer, from like having different guests on my own podcast. And it's just like it started off just like really simple with just like people who I know, like people who I interact with, people who I look up to. And from there, it was more about like challenging myself as an individual, getting into like things I necessarily do not care about, like like energy and things like that, and just having people on there who do care about that. And even just like the hardest one was with Nas and his transition, just because as a person who's not a part of that community, but who is trying to be an ally of the LGBTQIA community, it was it was eye opening just to see the fortitude that he had, and he's used to being in that position, and I just like I wasn't, because I've never had to go through life thinking knowing I was somebody else.
Yeah.
And so it's just putting myself into more uncomfortable situations and just like striving to be perform at the best of my abilities.
So I wanted to talk more about having other people on the podcast.
Right.
Because out of the two of us, you have been the most vehemently against having other people on the podcast.
Right. Well, that's actually that's not true. I just wouldn't. I just protect Super Flow Bros because that's our thing.
That's our thing.
Other podcasts, like, I don't. It's really, even if you look at the Fantastic Flow, there hasn't been like
a solo Fantastic Flow
since like
say like
last year.
I want to say like dating Black in Denver.
No, that was in March, and so even like before that.
But
like, that hasn't been like a solo one ever.
Would you ever say we would implement a podcast that is more geared towards having guests on it? Because we have...
No, absolutely I would. It just wouldn't be under the Super Flow Bro.
Because we have a few podcasts.
Yeah.
Daily Planet Review, which we probably should get back to using again. Dust Off the Cartridge, of course, and then we have me and you's solo podcast.
Right.
So my question to you would be, would you want to... Because none of the, outside of Super Flow Bro, none of the other ones focus on like politics or anything like that.
Right.
Would you want to just implement more people into the other podcasts, or would you like to have a specific podcast where we only have guests?
If it just depends, like what the guest wants to talk about. If they want to talk about like video games or like sports or culture, they can go under one of the other mantles, or even just have like, because we don't necessarily have a sports podcast.
That's because they're the only one who follows sports.
And if they like want to come under that, like, that's cool with me. And so
would you ever consider just getting rid of the branding of our channels altogether?
Actually, I would not, just because there needs to be a distinction. I don't want it to be like, oh, 26 and Glencoe just all over. Like, no, there needs to be like, hey, this is under the 26 and Glencoe brand. And then like, eventually the goal is to grow from just a podcast to a media entity. And so that we're going head to head with like Westward. We're going head to head with the Denver Post. We're going head to head with Huffington Post. We're going head to head with the New York Times. Because I feel like we're in a space when it comes to creating content that anybody can grab the brass knuckle. The brass rings, my mistake. The brass rings.
I would say that Denver has a lot of infrastructure built up for creating content.
Right.
Like, you look at, we have podcast houses, they have a lot of media corporations.
Right.
However, Denver itself doesn't have a lot of big name talent as far as media goes, honestly. Right. Like, there's not a lot of celebrities coming out. I think the biggest celebrity from Denver right now is
me. It's
not
me. It's me.
It's probably TJ Miller at this point.
Okay.
And I would just say, do you think there's a specific reason why Denver doesn't have as much, I wouldn't say like media clout as opposed to other cities, or?
I really just think it's location, but just because when you're looking at just like the way the United States is set up, like you have like the New York, and you have like the Atlanta, you have like the Los Angeles and the San Francisco, and they're all on a coast. And while Denver is slowly becoming like the Midwestern hub of like entrepreneurship, of like new business, of like technology, there's an opportunity in in the city of Denver to really like rise up. And I do feel like what holds specifically Black Denver back from being like ahead of the curve is just like it's a crabs in a bucket mentality where everybody's doing what they have to do while pulling everybody else down. And that's like that's not how I was raised. That's not how you were raised. It was like, okay, let me put you up above me, and then hopefully one day you'll lift me up, and then it could be like a reciprocal type of thing where it's just like everybody's eating. So when everybody's eating, everybody should be living good, and that's how I think it should be. I feel like if we spread just like, I don't want to call it the wealth, but if we just, I don't want to call it love either, but if we just spread I guess the clout, and we have like, and we start like a circle, or we start like not even like a group, but just like a community, because there is a community there, but there's like different pockets of a community. There's different communities that have the same goal. It's just this group doesn't mess with this group, but this group messes with this group, and this group messes with this group, but they don't mess with this group, and everybody doesn't like this group, but this group messes with this one, and it's just like, of course, there's like tension and clashing, and it's just like nobody really wants to like not take the lead, but just be like, hey, we all need to eat, we all need to get after it.
Well, see, for me, I think it goes down to more of a historical like sense. Like for me, when you look at places like California, New York, and even like you say like Georgia, those are states and cities that have built up their reputation through like their artists and through their work. Like you think about California, they have, of course, they have Hollywood, but they also have you have California rap. You have people like Snoop Dogg, and they give that area a sense of like reputation, and so people flock to that city in order to do things. Like you listen to even a lot of the larger productions, like some of the largest production hubs, you listen to them, and they tend to have people that stay in California because they're like, it's so much easier to get production done in that state, that's because it has the infrastructure set up for it.
And that's kind of like the goal of 26 and Glencoe, because this is really just the beginning step,
but also
to the grand scheme of things, where what I envision, just like 26 and Glencoe is just the arm, it's not the body. It goes like, so my vision for just like 26 and Glencoe would be a division of like the House of Flow production house, where it's just like we have 26 and Glencoe as like the media arm. We have another company that does like content production for other companies. Then we have like the photography and the videography on this arm right here, and it's just like spreading the wealth so that we can, if something happens over here, we can say through this arm, we're still aiding people. We're still making sure people are uplifting to their fullest, and making sure everybody's eating. And then we still, like, if you want to learn, if you want to get into like video, if you want to get into like content creation, you can learn. You can work under us over here.
What I would say, I think, when I look at the entertainment community, is a lot of times a lot of people don't think about the level of contribution the government has with that. Like you look at one of the big things, the big discussions a lot of the art community has now is about tax breaks and incentives that the government does to keep productions. Like you look at California, they spend a lot of money on that. Georgia is they're a big state when it comes to that sort of thing. You think about that Atlanta peach that comes up in every movie. That's there because it means that movie took either a tax break or a tax incentive from Georgia to film in that state. And that's something that some projects live and die on. Like DC's Swamp Thing was canceled because the state that it was filming in canceled a tax incentive that was basically going to fund the whole production.
Okay. Enough of that. Let's get back to investing in ourselves. So You went all the way off.
I'm just discussing.
I'll let you cut. But so what? We're 6 months into the year. 7 actually. Oh God, 7 months into the year.
This is going back too fast.
How are you going to challenge yourself in the next 6?
I don't need to challenge myself. I have enough challenges in my life.
Okay. What about professionally? Just like I'm assuming you're a creative. How are you going to challenge yourself as a creative to, let's say, get on that next level?
Of course, it's going to be up to learning more editing skills and making more videos.
Right.
I think that is just going to be the baseline of what I can achieve with the level of challenge that's going to be coming towards me this semester.
Right. So I'll say the biggest thing for me would probably just be getting back to writing more. Because that's how I really started as like a journalist, was just like writing about professional wrestling. And now here I am 5-6 years later, editing like politic videos, and it's just like I've gone so far from what I've like originally loved to do that like the love isn't there anymore. It's just like what's happened on my journey as a journalist is just like my love for like writing and enjoying like I used to like be broke as shit writing like 6 articles a day talking about basketball, fashion, sneakers, college sports, everything. That was just those like that was like the best time of my life because I was just like cranking out content that I love to do. And just like now when I'm at like my job now, it's just like dang, do I like see myself here like in 5 years? Do I still want to be like dealing with like knowing the world is ending with global warming, knowing that there's like nuclear war on the way, or knowing like our leader or the head of the state is like crazy?
Well, I think no matter
like,
what your
right.
I think at least today with the president we have now, no matter what your job is, you're gonna be affected by it. President.
And it's just like I actually haven't been affected a lot. Just like I haven't.
But like you're gonna know about like what.
Yeah. I'll say because I'm just like super close to it that like I do, and it's just like a weird. It's a weird position that I'm in because.
Because you're in a position where. Like, there's a lot of people who say, like, some people follow politics like other people follow sports.
Right.
You're one of the companies that helps people do that.
And it's weird because, like, I work for a progressive news network, and I cover, like, the politics and, like, the poor communities who are really being affected by, like, his policies and everything, like even like covering like the migrants and like the pipeline and even just like the gerrymandering. And it's just like I'm in a position in life where I've just been blessed where I don't have to like really like deal with that, and that's like something that I've been trying to like work through because it's just like I feel bad when I have to like actually 2 months ago, I was out recording content for the Poor People's Campaign, and it just was like, yo, this like sucks for like you poor people, and I felt bad. I'm just like, yo, I don't have to live like this, like, and I was like, it was like making me upset the way I felt we were taking advantage of people, and it's just like. We're coming in from like our houses out east and out west, and we're in the inner city, and we're talking to these people who are homeless and how the homeless have a community, and we're just gonna tell them to get involved, but then at the end of the day, we're all gonna go home.
Yeah.
And that's just like, and that's something that I just did not like, that did not just like fit right with my soul, because it's just like, okay, like I claim to be like, I don't even claim because like, that's such a heavy burden. Like you can't claim to be like an ally or something if you're not really like living it. Like to me, that's just like from my opinion. I know some people have like different opinions, but like you can't talk it and then not walk it. It's just like I can be in like the homeless areas in the shelters all day, every day, volunteering, supporting, saying, "Hey, I'm here for you." But at the end of the day, I get to go home. Like I don't have to be here, and that's just like something that's really been bothering me lately. So it's really just like trying to challenge myself to like get back into like writing about wrestling or writing about the NBA or the WNBA or just like having just like making journalism fun again. Like I know that sounds like weird, but just like enjoying content again.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like in these past 2.5 years, my love for creating content has gone down the drain just because it's been so bombarded with the heaviness of the world. And so it's just like my biggest challenge would just be to like find the joy in content again because it's there. So I just have to get to it.
Would you say that coming into this new year, we should step out of our comfort zone?
I actually wouldn't even say that. Cause second day into the new year, I got my comfort zone was just shattered, just glass everywhere. I will say.
Well, I'm just proposing a challenge.
No, but I will say, yeah, just like do. I will say get out of your comfort zone because.
Well, I'm proposing a challenge.
Yeah, no, for sure, I'm with that.
So I think that the two of us should, before the end of the year, let's call it.
Right.
Each one of us should make a piece of content outside of our wheelhouse.
Right.
So we pick something that that is more in the other brother's wheelhouse, and we have to make a piece of content on it.
Okay. I'm with that.
You down?
Yeah.
What are you gonna pick?
I'll probably pick like anime.
Alright. I'm just saying, season 3, My Hero Academia, coming out in October.
You got any I don't want to say last words, but closing thoughts?
No, just well, I guess my closing thought would be what would be out of my wheelhouse that I should do.
It's up to you. I would say the NFL, but we don't rock with them.
Nah.
So I would think
Probably do a sneaker review or something.
But yeah, man. I really just wanted to do this because content is king. I tweeted that the other day, and
even if we're having difficulties, y'all deserve to hear our thoughts.
It's already been it's Friday. It's already been like a heavy weekend, so we're just trying to create through it. So create through the pain. Create through the pain.
Have a good evening, y'all.
All right.